Hello. Last week, we had nothing, really. There's the new iMacs, the keyboards. We didn't have them. Not a thing. We could point you at them. We couldn't really. We could tell you a lot about them, but we couldn't actually use them. This week, we've used them, but we don't care. That's old news now. That's so old. This week, we have something special. We have something new. MacNN, One More Thing, may actually be the very first podcast ever, seriously, ever, to pull off a live link up to another podcast. Oh yes. In fact, actually, hello. Yeah. Let me just say hi. I'm William Gallagher. It's good to see you. Now, can we turn to? I think we can turn to. Are we ready? Is that right? Yes. I'm getting a go ahead. Yes. Let's turn live via satellite to the MacNN proper podcast and Charles Martin. Hello, Charles. Well, having some satellite problems there. It must be running on Windows. We'll just try again in a moment. And unfortunately, right with us here is One More Thing regular, Malcolm Owen. Hello, Malcolm.
Good. Whatever time of day you're listening to this.
Hello. This live link-up stuff is very exciting, don't you think?
It's more a case of you doing we're doing a live via satellite thing, and it's a podcast. Obviously, it's not going to be live.
Well, if it was all pre-recorded,
but
right, it'd work, wouldn't it? That's the thing, I think, with One More Thing. There is the MacNN main podcast, the proper one where they do it right and all that stuff. And then there's us, kitchen sink, cup of tea, chat. Did I say kitchen sink? I meant kitchen table. It's feet up, natter, bit of news, bit of chat. This is the kind of thing. And we don't exactly plan. And today we haven't exactly planned a live link up, but actually no. No. Okay, so while we're waiting for to come along, let's go over some important serious business of the day, because it does occur to me that if we are linking to the proper podcast, I'm pretty sure they don't usually listen to us. I want us to sound all proper and official. Official. So, news on the march. Apple Television, Apple TV gets new channels. Malcolm, who cares?
Well, certainly not us over here.
But I have a list here that says, that's not very exciting. There's NBC has joined Apple TV. That's good. CBS All Access. Well, CBS was already there, wasn't it? So that's like a cable channel or something.
Yeah, so the main broadcasters over in the US are ABC, NBC, CBS, and QVC? No, there's another one there. I can't remember the exact acronym, but
NBC, CBS, ABC, and what's it called now? It was originally UPN, is now another one. Those. And whichever one Torchwood was on, Stars. Oh, and HBO. Who could forget HBO?
Yeah, whatever the big names are, you got the main broadcasters. So CBS is actually a main broadcaster. Their all-access services basically watch their shows live over the internet using an app, and also gain access to their back catalogue of content, which includes something like 7,500 or so episodes of, well, quite a lot of stuff. The biggest show they do, I think, is still NCIS.
Is NCIS really still running? That's astonishing.
It is a brilliant show. My family here are eagerly anticipating its showing on UK TV finally.
Well, I don't want to put...
For the latest series, anyway.
Let me prefix with a lot of allegedlys, because I had a distant memory of creator Don Belisario basically saying he did it to pay off his alimony or something like that, which didn't feel like the dramatic impetus that you want. You're just looking at me now. Okay. So CBS All Access is a lot better than I thought. NBC is good. ABC is obviously already there because ABC and Disney are together, and Apple and Disney are all together, and that kind of stuff. I actually I know something here because I have Apple TV here in the UK. Malcolm, I don't think you do. Am I right?
No, we don't.
Are
Not in
you
here.
insane enough to have an American and a UK Apple iTunes Store account?
I haven't reached that level of fanaticness yet.
Thanks, I have. I've for long had both accounts, and it has many advantages. And please don't ever do it. It is endlessly confusing, but it does mean I can change my Apple TV to my US account, and it will show me that all of these channels exist. Now, some of them, like PBS, I can actually look. So I ended up watching a BBC Sherlock Holmes documentary airing on PBS. So I'm not sure it was worth all the effort, but it was there. And every now and again, you get little extras, things like that. There are lots of free episodes of TV shows on the American end of the service. But this means tonight, or whatever it is, I will be able to see these three new channels. I just may or may not be able to actually watch them. And I'm just, because you're looking at me like that, I want to move on a little bit. We haven't said what the third channel is, sorry. M2M, which is Made to Measure. It's a fashion orientated channel, and it's not from anywhere else. It's exclusive to Apple TV. And it's funny that they should announce that now, because Apple has also now announced that they are going to sponsor the world famous Met Gala. Malcolm, you dress better than I do. Are you a Met Gala attendee? Aficionado, even?
I thought it was about the weather.
Ba-bum. Or perhaps a way for people to get together? Met? All people called Gala. I mean, I'm William Gallagher. You can.
So it could be something about London police officers taking part in bingo.
Do we know? I'm embarrassed saying about this. We don't. Neither of us knows anything about Met Gala, do we? Or do we? Can we conjure up anything? Come on, read something off Google and pretend you know.
I think it might be something to do with the Metropolitan Museum of Art, whatever that is.
Whoa! In New York, Mama. Now I'm interested.
And it's something about their Costume Institute exhibition. Sorry, Costume Institute.
Tell me more.
It's an institute for costumes.
I thought, is it in New York at all?
Probably.
All the best things are in New York, really. Except me.
Yeah.
You.
Castle.
I do like Castle.
Yeah.
We're back to television, isn't it? That's on ABC, so that is definitely on Apple TV. We kind of exhaust. Why is Apple sponsoring fashion? I mean, are they doing it to pick on us? You know, here we are, in at least my case, Apple geeks. In your case, you know, a technology expert. They just want to stretch us. They're doing fashion now. It's going to be rodeos next week. Something to mess with our heads. Yes or no?
I have no idea why they're doing this. I unfortunately know nothing about this story, like I've obviously displayed.
You mean unlike me? I wanted us to talk about this because I do think it's interesting that I don't know the area, but that's what's interesting to me. Rather than just, you know, one new computer after another, Apple is going into new areas, and it's crossing lines, I think, between technology. Well, it's a famous example, isn't it, that Apple claims to be at the crossroads between technology and the liberal arts. And now I think, can you have a third way on a crossway? Should be a roundabout. They're at the roundabout of technology, liberal arts, and fashion. Fashion, I'm not a great fashion fan, although I do Frock Watch when Strictly Come Dancing comes on. I'm a typical husband there. Oh, terrible lines, that kind of thing. I think fashion is interesting because it has style and vigour, which, whether or not you think that's terribly relevant and whether or not you look forward to the latest spring collections or not, at least is more interesting than a zero 0.1 gigahertz advance in a processor somewhere. Or it is to me. Do you find new areas like this interesting, or are you actually fully happy with the techie specs that we usually get from companies?
I have barely any interest in fashion whatsoever.
Actually, we also have something new. This is complicated. Malcolm, you may know more about this than me, but previously on MacNN, we have, for a long time now, the proper MacNN podcast. That's the one where they cover new news, insights, investigative journalism, all this stuff, and they dress well. Then there's us. Okay, but now there's also a third podcast, which opened this week, launched this week, and will continue forever. The MacNN Off-Topic podcast, which is, Malcolm, how do you describe Off-Topic?
Where the MacNN podcast and One More Thing have to, funny enough, talk about Macs in some ways, or Mac-related or Apple-related products. Off Topic, funnily enough, goes off topic. It's quite Ron Seal in terms of its description. They don't, Mike and whomever is guest for that week can talk about anything. It doesn't have to be anything to do with Apple. So the very first thing that they talked about in the inaugural episode, I believe, is, I can't remember quite whether it was the first thing or the second thing in the running order, they talked about astronomy for some reason.
Oh, this WTF-001 star. That's so interesting, yeah.
Oh, that, yeah. Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about there. But apparently that's one of the first things they brought up on it, and I can't think of any connection to Apple at all.
Well, WTF-001, it's 1,500 light years away. It's a stellar event. You know there's an Apple store there. That's the connection, clearly.
Are you saying Apple stores are like Starbucks?
I don't know the answer to that.
Because I've still got to travel about an hour away to get to a Starbucks.
Where do you live?
I live in the middle of... Oh, come on, I live opposite somewhere where they do weapons testing. That's the middle of nowhere.
All right, you win. You don't have Starbucks, you don't have Apple stores, but you have gunfire. I said you were stylish. Look at that. You even live in Gusto.
Gusto being somewhere in Carmarthenshire, yes.
Off topic. I actually had a note about this.
Oh, dear.
I was told to explain that it's just what you said. It's off topic. I didn't know as much as you, but I knew that, I even worked it out from the title, that it would go in interesting directions. But the note says that this podcast features two experts. Now, I took that personally. We've got two experts here. I mean, it's obviously not me, but there's you, and there's Malcolm, isn't it? Malcolm, you. I think you two should be offended by that and tune in to the MacNN Off-Topic podcast every Sunday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I've no idea what that is in our time, but hang on, it's got to be in the afternoon. Isn't that nice? They release it in the afternoon. We can have a lie-in on a Sundays. But, at last. Okay, you didn't think this was going to happen, did you? Malcolm was doubting me right from the start. Speaking of podcasts, it is time. Okay. I've been promised this time, it's guaranteed, live via satellite. This is One More Thing, reaching out to the proper MacNN podcast and the guy who genuinely knows what he's doing, Charles Martin. Hello, Charles. Are you there?
And I want to make absolutely sure that we've cleared out their desks and they're escorted by security. Got that? All right, good. Now, sorry. Hey, hang on. We're going live. I got 1 second. I'll get back to you. Okay, I'll call you. Hello, One More Thing. It's me, Charles Martin from the main MacNN podcast. So happy to be here with you. I wanted to pop by for a minute because I had a couple of things that were on my mind, and I really wanted to talk to you guys about it. The first thing was that Malcolm was kind enough to stop by in a pre-recorded segment that we used on the most recent episode of the MacNN podcast, episode 37, now available on SoundCloud and iTunes. And he and managing editor Mike kind of got into it a little bit about this new campaign called PC Does What. Well, Mike was like an attack dog on this thing. Poor Malcolm was left to try and defend the PC Does What campaign as a good marketing reminder campaign to let the public know that PCs are still there and all that. Well, I was listening to that, and I have to tell you something. Malcolm was right. Malcolm was right. I agree with him that the PC Does What campaign is good for Mac sales. Because look, Mac users already know this. The campaign, the ads will spark a discussion. PC users will go, hey, I just saw this ad. Did you know PCs can do a double backflip while in a helicopter playing Kenny Loggins songs? And Mac users will snicker a little and will then go on to explain about their machine. And so I think that will help convert a lot of people over. So I'm crazy about this campaign, quite frankly. If I was looking for a way to illustrate the difference between Windows PCs and the mindset that goes with them and Macs, I'd show Apple commercials and then PC Does What. Listen, I didn't just come here to crack a bad joke at Malcolm's expense. I do actually agree with one of his points, but I think that the intention that Malcolm had, which is that this is just to remind people that this is around and that it can do more than they may be using it for presently, is incredibly valid. I'm completely serious. But one word changed in that campaign would have made all the difference in the world. You want to know what that one word is? Here it is. Ready? Sitting down? Good. Linux. Linux does what? That would be a campaign that would actually open up some people's eyes. I mean, not, Linux isn't for everybody, and it's never going to be a mass market OS, I don't think. But there is a certain segment of the PC using audience that really loves to dig in under the hood and really loves to get in there and use it for super powerful things. Well, Linux is exactly what they're looking for, and maybe they don't know this. So a Linux Does What campaign would be brilliant. For example, a guy's visiting a factory and the supervisor is, he's got his headphones on and there's kind of the roar of factory production going on. And they're like, hey, wow, look at those robots assemble that cars. Oh, yeah, Linux runs that system. Linux does what? See? Or what about this? Wow, this is a huge rack of servers. How many websites are being controlled here? Oh, thousands. And what kind of numbers? How does this scale? Oh, yeah, millions of people visit it every week. Oh, yeah, really? And what runs it all? Oh, yeah, Linux. We use Linux to control the whole system. Wow, Linux does what? And then let's say just two guys walking up on the street. I can remember back before ATMs were around. Oh, you had to talk to humans. It was the worst. You'd have to ask them nicely or they wouldn't give you any money. Now I just use this ATM. It's so convenient. Oh, yeah. Do you know that Linux actually runs most of the banking systems in the United States? Linux does what? There you go. See, I think it's just that one word. It would make the whole world of difference. That's my piece. I just wanted to agree with Malcolm and say good job opening my eyes to the real value of that campaign. So that's it. That's it for me. Back to the One More Thing studio. All right. Very good. Are we off air? Oh, good. Hey, can we get subtitles for the One More Thing podcast? Because I cannot understand a word those English people say.
Charles Martin there somewhere. Live via satellite. Yeah, I won't be doing that again in a hurry. Malcolm, let's do something we always do. Let's do a One More Thing. In fact, let's do a One More Thing special. One More Thingies of the Week. Last time on One More Thing, Thingies of the Week, you refused to tell us what was on your mind because Thingy of the Week is a thing that, you're using, you're testing, it's kind of occupying your week and you like it. You weren't sure yet that you liked this mystery thing. You still had much testing to do, but I think you were confident that it was likely to be. And this week, do we find out what was it? And does it make Thingy of the Fortnight?
Well, funnily enough, it doesn't.
No.
There's an actual reason for this. The creators of this device have said, we've got problems with the app. So if you could hold off on reviewing it until we get this sorted, that would be brilliant. So yeah, that means I can't really review it. I'm still using it. I'm still collecting data with it, so that might happen next week. I don't know. It depends on how long they pull their finger out and actually do it. I do have something else that would be of interest.
Well, I'd like that, but I'd just say, I think actually that's fair enough, that manufacturer. We jabber every week, but people like that go make things. I think it's very impressive. They have an idea, they create it, and they sell it, and maybe in the thousands or millions. So I deeply respect someone who could do anything like that, and good on them for being on top of problems and reaching out to you first. So hopefully thingy of the month or year, whenever they sort that out. But now you have a second.
I do have something else. It is a little bit of a throwback item in a way. As you know, many companies are trying to do the virtual reality thing, and we might be having Oculus, the Facebook-owned VR company, might be bringing out their headsets probably early next year. So after Christmas, you're going to see advertising for, let's see, Oculus's version, Samsung's Gear VR, and a few other things suddenly cropping up out of nowhere, and everyone's going to be trying to hawk you the latest face-dangling screen technology. In preparation for that, I highly recommend, and this is my selection for this week, that people try and take part in something called Google Cardboard. It's been out for a fair few months now, I think over a year now. I highly recommend, before the marketing blitz begins, people try out Google Cardboard in some form. I know you can still buy kits through various online retailers. There's also plastic kits, so if you don't want to get the folded up cardboard and lens assembly, you can go out and buy formed plastic with the lenses built in, which are much more hard wearing compared to the actual cardboard ones. You just slap your phone in, and this is both for iPhones as well as Android devices. Run the app, and then you stick cardboard up to your face, and you look through, and it's VR. So you can look at all the special videos they put on YouTube. You can look at various apps that are coming out for cardboard. They've been progressing quite well with it. But the biggest thing you've got to do is allow someone else to use it, because this is going to be the biggest thing, I think, of VR, is watching someone else using a VR headset and looking like an idiot.
Oh, that's rotten. You'd almost sold me on that, Torvald.
It is this. I keep on maintaining virtual reality is a brilliant thing if you are on your own in the room. If you have someone else looking at you and you are moving your head around like an idiot, you are going to look goofy as heck.
So you don't want to form a MacNN virtual reality conference somewhere. Get 1,000 people standing in a room looking through these things. Actually, I think I really...
You can't have 1,000 people in a room looking at these things, because they'll walk around and smack into each other.
Yeah. You're not sounding like that's a bad thing.
Only if it's filmed and we get the £250 when it gets sent to You Been Framed.
Right. A whole £250. I'll tell you one thing you changed my mind about there. I have just blanked on cardboard because it's cardboard. I'm actually papyrophobic. It's like an OCD problem-ish with certain types of paper. And cardboard is usually okay, but against my face, no. My skin's crawling even talking about it. But you're saying I can buy fake cardboard. I can buy plastic instead.
Yeah, so you can buy proper plastic items that kind of work a lot better than normal cardboard, if only because you have this confidence that it's not going to suddenly disintegrate and your phone's going to hit the floor.
Oh, grief, you mount your phone in it. Sorry, I wasn't thinking. Oh, that's even worse.
So yeah, you put your phone in as the screen, and it's got two lenses in it that alter the way it appears to your eyes, so you can focus a lot shorter. Yeah. The one I've got is actually one from OnePlus when they were announcing their second phone, the follow-up to the OnePlus One, which I think was called the OnePlus 2. The one they brought out, they made it out of thicker cardboard, and they've also got this, I think it's oleophobic coating that they put on it.
I like the sound of that. I don't understand it, but any anti-phobia stuff is good for me.
Part of the problem of cardboards and anything that involves strapping something to your head, you end up having these, if you don't have foam pieces in there to cushion it, you'll usually end up with this stain that appears between the two lenses where it's been slapped against your forehead. And with this coating, it makes it a lot easier to just clean away any stain there, or at least to minimise the amount of staining there for a start. So this is not going to have a horrible stain right in the place where you're about to put your head, and you can see you're going to put your head months down the line when other cardboard systems would have that.
Yeah, you're not selling me on this. You did for a bit. You got rid of the cardboard. Now you brought in stains.
Oh, just get the plastic one. Get the plastic one. Use whatever cleaning agent you've got, and you just use that.
We'll see. But I am much more interested than I was. So thank you. I like that. You always got things I've either never heard of, or in this case, I've just blanked. In this case, I know I've got something you haven't, partly because it's for the Apple Watch, and you haven't got an Apple Watch, and also I've been checking this. It's not, strictly speaking, available in the UK yet. It is in the States. It must be a pixel away for being released here, because there are prices, there are shipping details, all this stuff. But if you go right now live to Amazon or somewhere .co.uk, you won't get this. So have a cup of tea first, then go. It's another dock, actually. Do you remember when the Apple Watch came out and all the docks and the stands were just rubbish? We now have many that are gorgeous pieces of work. I particularly like one I use called the N Blue Premier One W3. It's this little assembly of metal that does fit your watch, does fit your iPhone, fit your iPad, all together, charges a lot, love it. But now, from Belkin, we have the Belkin Charge Dock for Apple Watch and iPhone, and it is special. It's good because it's nicely designed, it's heavy metal, just solid, looks excellent, but it is special because it is the first of all of these chargers for Apple Watch to not need the charger that came with your Apple Watch. Now, in future, nobody's going to even understand this, but up to now, whatever stand you bought from any manufacturer, cheap, expensive, anything, you would have to thread your own charger through it from your Apple Watch case. Now, Apple is, maybe they have enough to go around, they are selling them to manufacturers, or they're allowing manufacturers, and the Belkin one comes with one built in, which has the brilliant advantage that I now have a spare Apple Watch charger. I use the one in this Belkin stand. The one that came with my watch is now in my travel bag. That was the killer about all the rest. As brilliant as they were, you really had to work to stitch the cable in, and so you had to work to stitch it out whenever you were going away travelling. And I've been doing a lot of travelling lately, so I was finding it a bit of a pain and was actually considering buying another charging cable. And now I don't have to. Have this gorgeous thing, the Belkin Charge Dock for Apple Watch and iPhone. In the States, you can get it right now, it's $130. Here in the UK, it's going to be about £110, and I've probably been talking for long enough that you can get one. But have a look at belkin.co.uk or a quick shifty search on Amazon.co.uk whenever you have a few spare minutes. Right. That's it for Things of the Week, which means it's it for one more thing. We've had live satellite inserts-ish. Malcolm, do you know what we should have done? I've just thought we should have had a film trailer. We should have run the Star Wars film trailer in the middle somewhere. Because didn't they get everybody to watch 17 hours of football just to see a 2-minute trailer?
What's football?
Oh, I'm so glad we get to talk. It's a sport thing.
Is it something that dogs do in the park with their owners?
Probably. Yes. Yeah. Okay, I think we may not be the same on this one, but I think next week, let me announce it now, in the middle of one more thing next week, at some point in the middle next week, we are going to have an exclusive-ish reveal of a newish film trailer. I think it's going to be the sequel to Frozen, because I just want to see that. And as Malcolm runs for the door, let me say goodbye. See you next week.